He's at my house now. All right, next comic coming to the stage is also one of the producers of this show. Very funny lady. She's performed at the National Comedy Theater. I think that was probably one of the first places you kind of get your feet wet there, right? Comedy Palace was the first place. You're in for a real treat. Please put your hand together for the very funny Kimberlee Mendoza.
Hello. So I want to dedicate this entire set to all those people whose names are either spelled weird or sound weird. So, Erel, you get this, right? So do I have anybody out there that can totally identify with that? I heard there was someone earlier that spelled their name, so yeah. Let's hear a round of applause for anybody who has a weird spell. All right. All of you Johns and Marys, that's John and Mary for those of you who can't spell, will never fully understand the pain of the Jons and the Maris. So this one is for you. Yeah, so people like me with names that are spelled weird, because Kimberlee with 2 E's is not normal, and people always want to spell it with a Y. People like me, we go to Disneyland and we can never buy one of those little plaques, with our names on it. It's a tragic childhood. Right? And so there's a little girl who's sitting there writing with a Sharpie a little H in just so she can have one. It's really sad. And spell check hates us. It's like Elmer Fudd. You're like putting it in, it takes it out. You put it in, you take it out. Finally you just say, fine, I'll just be Kim. It's ridiculous. And honestly, here's my theory. A woman who has just gone through the most painful thing that she could possibly go through and may still be on drugs should not be naming children. So the doctor's like, so ma'am, what would you like to name your child? And she's like, well, that was really painful. Extra H for you for the rest of your life. See how you like it. And that is just crazy stuff that happened. Actually, I think my mom, for me, I think she was an elementary school teacher and she just needed my name to be phonetic. There are also those people that have names that sound weird, right? Like Sherry becomes Cherie. Or Tamra becomes Tamara. Or Hannah becomes Hannah. And these people have no problem telling you that that's how their name is, right? Like us people with names that are spelled different, we're so afraid to tell you because we're thinking we're going to offend you. But if you tell someone like, it's Hannah. And if you're giggling, you either know those people or you are those people. Names are really important, right? So we take on the persona of what our names are, right? So I don't know about you, but I have never seen an ugly Barbie. I have never seen a cool Melvin. If you're going to name your kid Bob, you got to be okay with him being mediocre and working in a cubicle. If they go beyond that, that's awesome, but if they don't, you named him Bob. If you're going to name your kid something like Eugene, or Sheldon, or Melvin, just get him martial arts lessons very early in life. Honestly, what you should name your child is called Jack. Right? Jack Bauer, Jack Ryan, Jack Shepard from Lost. Jack, it's a name, right? There's the occasional Jack Black, right? But still rich, still famous, and funny. And funny's good or you wouldn't be here. There's the one-off of Jack the Ripper. That one's a little jacked up. But Jack Kennedy, right? Jack Dempsey. Jack Sparrow. Okay, maybe not Jack Sparrow, but Johnny Depp is cute. But Jack, right? And if you don't believe me, you don't know Jack. Really, Jack works everywhere except for on an airplane. Then we have Hijack. Actually, there's only one name that's stronger than Jack. Anybody know what that is? Chuck Norris. Do you know that here in San Diego there was an actual street named after Chuck Norris? But they finally had to change it because everybody who crossed it got hurt. So names, they really matter, right? Names. I hear a lot of old names are coming back in. I have to ask, do we really need a bunch of Olas and Eulas and Myrtles running around? Some things are better just the first time, like The Matrix, Speed, and Grease. We don't need sequels. Speaking of Hollywood, because obviously that was a natural segue into Hollywood. Hollywood likes to name their kids really crazy things, am I right? Yes. Kanye, which by the last time I did this set, I called him Cayenne like he was a pepper. Kanye West named his kid Northwest. What happens if this kid guess he'll have all four corners covered. Duchovny, he named his kid, like he's a goat. And what happens when he grows up and the wife is like, why won't you stop acting like a kid? Because I have to. Tom Cruise named his kid Surrey. Like it's an oil slick, I don't know. And honestly, it makes me think of this. Can you imagine how annoying this would be? Surrey, can you tell me what the weather is? Surrey, can you tell me where to go eat? Surrey, would you play my favorite song? I mean, it's kind of like that. I don't know if you've heard of the magician Penn, but he named his kid Moxie. I kind of like this one. Think about it. If you were married to them, no matter how old you got, you'd always have Moxie. Another lady named her kid Ember. That one kind of sparked some interest. Over time, it can be kind of hot. Yeah. Let's see. Michael Jackson named his kid Blanket. I heard this kid is really awesome to hang around with unless you go swimming. Then he's just a wet blanket. Honestly, it doesn't matter what your name is. I am going to forget it. I am so bad with names. It's a miracle that I was able to memorize this fact. I'm a teacher, and I've had students come up to me, and they'll say things like, Dr. Mendoza, will you send me an email? And I don't want to admit that I've forgotten their name, so I've learned this is what I do. I say, oh, remind me how to spell your last name. And they'll go, S-M-I-T-H. Oh, I didn't want it to be like the band Smith, you know, with the Y. I had this one poor student, she came into class late, and I was like, Danielle. And she's like, are you talking to me? And I'm like, yes, Danielle. And she goes, my name's Monique. I was like, well, your parents named you wrong. You look like a Danielle. Actually, people tell me I look like a Jennifer. I have no idea what a Jennifer looks like. Apparently, like me. Even though every Jennifer I've ever known doesn't look like me. I had this pastor who would pray for me, and he'd always say, dear God, be with Jennifer. I was like, wherever she's at, I sure hope she's blessed. Honestly, there's a lot of other really bad things I could be called and have, but the one I don't like to be called the most is white. Now that might sound weird, but I can tan from my head to my knees, but below, well, no, that's not true. I can peach from my head to my knees, but below my knees I have no pigmentation, no hue whatsoever. I go to the beach and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're so white! I was like, thanks for letting me know, I didn't know. Lifeguards like, excuse me ma'am, could you cover your legs? You're starting to confuse the boats in the harbor. NASA reports that there's been a really bad light source coming from the surface. It's pretty bad. And I have a really bad insecurity about it, and so this woman came up to me and she's like, hi, Blanca. I turned to my son and I was like, oh my gosh, I think that woman just called me white. And I goes, Mom, her name's Blanca. Like, well, I might need to work on my insecurity just a little bit. But whoever said sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you, had to have been named Jack. Yeah. You know, I have this friend named David. He lost his ID the other day. Now he goes by Dave. There's a farmer, he named his pig Ink. Basically because he kept running out of the pen. So I had something happen to me the other day at Panera. Maybe I should start getting my coffee here because this is really embarrassing, and I'm only sharing the story because I was dared to. So I was at Panera the other day, and this guy had a name badge on, and it said Employee of the Month, and underneath it said the name June. I was like, oh, did you just have a birthday? He goes, no. And I'm looking at him, and I'm pointing to his name badge, and he's pointing to his name badge, and we're both looking at each other, and I went, oh, you're the Employee of the Month of June. Oh. And yes, this really happened. So embarrassing to be me. Apparently his name was Thomas, and Thomas and his friends decided to laugh at me as I walked out the door. So I need to come to Brew Spot and obviously not go to Panera anymore. So I'm just going to share one more story with you, and then I'm going to get off the stage. So I was getting a free book from Jerry Jenkins. They had like a line, you stand in line, you get up to the front, and you would say, hey, this is my name, to his wife, and then she would whisper to him, and then he'd write it in the book like some weird game of telephone. Well, I wanted to play, so I said, hi, I'm Kimberlee with 2 E's. So she whispers it to him. He writes in my book. Him and I take a selfie together, because that's what you do when you meet famous people. So I get back to the hotel room. I open my book, and what does it say? To Kimberlee with a T. But he got the 2 E's right. So I took that selfie of Jerry and I hung it up, and underneath I wrote, Tim and Jerry. I'm not Kimberlee with 2 E's, I'm Kimberlee with 2 E's. Thank you so much. You guys have a good evening.